Hey everyone, Dan Mortimer with eXp Realty, bringing you another real estate news video. I always try to look online from time to time to see what news is out there that may have an impact on our Las Vegas and Henderson real estate markets. For those of you that get my weekly newsletter that I send out every Wednesday morning, I actually shared this article, but I wanted to do a separate video about it just to help educate you a little bit more beyond the headlines. Regardless of how you feel about politics and news and the media and things like that, one thing that's important to understand when you see something like this, these media companies are trying to get your attention, and the way that a lot of them do it is by trying to scare people. So you may have seen this article. I'm going to pull it up on my screen right here so that you can see it. But it basically just, gosh, you read that headline, new study says that Las Vegas is the least stable housing market in the country. Oh my gosh, we got to get out of here. What are we doing? Why are we buying homes? This is terrible. But really and truly, if you look beyond this, you'll get a little bit more context. But, I saw this and at first I was like, oh my gosh, least stable housing market in the country. I probably reacted the same way a lot of you did. And then I went through the article and it talks about the data from construction coverage. The most volatile states for real estate are Nevada, Georgia, Michigan, and Arizona, with a random buyer having at least a 40% chance of seeing a price decrease greater than 5% at some point. That is crazy. That's, again, it sounds like, oh my gosh, the world is falling apart. Why on earth would anybody buy a home in Las Vegas? And what upsets me a little bit about this, they talked to a local broker, Bob Hamrick, that's been in town and been in the business for a long time. But what annoys me a little bit about this is it's a very short article, so there really isn't a lot of context to it, and they do a little bit more on the video. But really, you get the headline, and then you get a little bit of information, and then a quote from a local real estate broker. But they don't actually cite the data. They don't link to the actual article that was put out by construction coverage. So I went ahead and pulled it up, and I'm going to pull it up here now so that you can see it, because when you look at the actual data, it kind of gives a little bit more context to what they're talking about. Because when you look at the main article, all it says is Las Vegas housing market is extremely volatile. It's extremely unstable, which again, if you're thinking about buying, or even if you are a homeowner, like, it looks like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Our market's going to crash. Everything is the worst. And why would anybody buy a home in Las Vegas? And when you go into the actual article, this is constructioncoverage.com. And it just goes through the most stable U.S. housing markets. They compare data between how housing has performed versus the stock market, level stability state by state, which states are the most volatile, which are the most stable. You can see they got a chart here where they go through U.S. housing versus the stock market stability, comparing the S&P 500 index to a Zillow home value index. But one thing that kind of gets kind of blown over in the article is that this is a 25-year study. So when they say that Las Vegas is the most volatile housing market, you can see it on this chart here. You can see they've got Las Vegas down here and then Buffalo, New York next to it. And they've got the charts of stability versus high volatility. But this is a 25-year study. So this is not necessarily saying right now in 2025, Las Vegas is an extremely highly volatile market, and that's how it's going to be into the future. What it's saying is over the last 25 years, so you go back to 2000, we're now in 2025, that there were some market extremes and high volatility. Now I'm leaving this on this chart, or I'm leaving this chart up because this is a really interesting comparison. It shows, you can see the dark line that's kind of at the bottom there is the Buffalo, New York metro, where the green line that you can see has some squigglies and a lot of ups and downs, that's Las Vegas. Now, the reason that this is important to understand is in 2008, when we saw the big boom and then the market tanked because there were so many no income loans, no income verification, adjustable rate mortgages, all kinds of shady things that lenders have not been able to do since then because it crashed our housing market. Yeah, Las Vegas was one of the most impacted when we had our housing crash in 2008. So, of course, you can see it goes up and then it goes way down. But if you look at the data from, let's just say 2010 to now, you can see that home prices have been going up and up and up. And then we have this little squiggly. That was when the rates doubled overnight and we saw things drop a little bit. And then look what they've continued to do. They've continued to go up every single year. Um, so yeah, it does contrast Buffalo and Las Vegas in this article, and I would encourage you, if you are interested in this stuff, there is some good data in here. But one thing to understand is that it's rated. Las Vegas has been the most volatile large metro, and they do cite this 48.5% probability of a 5% or greater price drop, but that's based on the last 25 years. And Las Vegas, as I mentioned before, we were one of the most impacted markets when the housing market tanked. But since then, as things have changed with our economy and with the amount of people coming in, particularly to Las Vegas, but other parts of Nevada as well, we have not seen that same volatility. We saw a little bit of a blip around the 2020 pandemic, but home prices really shot up. We didn't see a big crash. We just saw a little bit of uncertainty, and some sellers maybe got a little more aggressive with pricing, and then the market shot up again. So the headline of, hey, you're going to see, there's a 48.5% chance that you're going to see a 5% or bigger price drop in this market, it's a little misleading. And again, they're trying to get attention. They're trying to get eyeballs. They're trying to get people to look at their articles and watch their videos. And so, they'll put things out there like this to attract that attention for good or bad or whatever you think it is. But, I'm looking at these two charts and I'm saying, oh my gosh, like Las Vegas is obviously trending way, way up, whereas Buffalo, doing okay, but it's a much more stable, gradual growth. And we just haven't seen that here in Las Vegas. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I saw this article. I didn't want people to just look at it and get scared and say, oh my gosh, like this is the worst housing market ever. Why on earth would anybody buy in Las Vegas? The reason that I mention this is because people are still buying. Rates are at real peaks that we haven't seen in a long time. Prices are at all-time highs. I shared a video recently that Las Vegas has hit we broke a new record in January where we hit all-time median home price reached an all-time high. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words a little bit there. And the prices will likely continue to go up. Now, does that mean it's going to go up and up and up forever? No, not necessarily. But it does show that people are still coming into Las Vegas. Investors are still buying in Las Vegas. I know there have been some articles shared over the last few months about how many homes investors have been buying up in town, how many millions and millions, if not billions of dollars investors have poured into our Las Vegas single-family market. So my point is this. If you're thinking about buying a home and you see an article like this, don't get scared away thinking that, oh my gosh, Las Vegas is going to tank. Nobody's going to be buying homes anymore. They're going to be half the price soon. Because frankly, unless we see something drastic that drives people out of Las Vegas, we're not going to see home prices drop off significantly anytime soon. If anything, maybe they'll be flat for a little while, and then they're going to continue to go up and up and up. We see a lot of other places, especially California. People are getting out of there now with these the fires that happened in Southern California. We're starting to see more people come into our housing market. So there's obviously a lot of confidence in Las Vegas and a lot of investment that's come into Las Vegas in the last 10, 15 years. That's going to continue. So for people that are looking at this and saying, well, maybe I should wait, maybe prices will drop to, 5, 10, 20%. I remember talking to people back in 2019 that had the same sentiment. And since then, the prices have gone up, 20, 30%, if not more in some cases. So very interesting to see. But again, this is something I wanted to share with you because I really want to make sure that that as a real estate professional and as someone who watches all of this very closely, I want to give you some additional information beyond kind of the shock headlines that we sometimes see in our media and give a little bit of additional context. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want you to buy a home just for the sake of buying a home and make yourself house poor and put yourself in financial dire straits. But if you are thinking about buying a home, this is still a unique window of opportunity. One thing that was said in this article that I do want to echo the sentiment of, and I'm going to pull it back up here so that you can see it, but I am in complete agreement with what was said, that we have a balanced market now. Right now, we are sitting on just over 3 months worth of inventory. And that is a key word, balanced. When we look at the housing market and when we look at inventory and how we analyze the data, which is something that we've done for decades and decades, normally when we only have 3 months worth of housing inventory, that is a pretty strong seller's market. It means there are way more buyers than there are sellers. Yeah, the days on market are a little bit higher, but sellers typically have more leverage. But because of how crazy our market was in 2020, 2021, and the beginning of 2022 before the rates jumped up, we're seeing a lot of sellers that have equity. They're not needing to sell. They would like to sell and get into something else, but while the rates are high, they're sitting on their home. They're waiting. Some of them are starting to get to the point where they're saying, okay, time for us to sell our place, get into something new. Doesn't look like the rates are going to go down immediately. So let's at least lock something up while the prices are still somewhat reasonable and get this transition done. And we're seeing the same thing with buyers. A lot of buyers are saying, all right, enough is enough. I got to get into something. The prices continue to climb, even if it's not a rapid climb like we saw a few years ago. Prices are still going up. So this is still a good time to get in while the market is balanced. And what does balanced mean? Well, for a buyer, it means that you have options. It means that you have sellers that in most cases are going to be willing to work with you. They might be willing to work with your financing. They may be able to offer you closing cost credits, work with you on repairs. If there are other things that you need, maybe you're selling a home in another state. This just gives you more leverage because there aren't as many buyers flooding the market right now. So sellers are willing to play ball and they're willing to work with you. Now, if you're a home seller, it means that you do need to price your home reasonably. If you overprice it, it's going to sit. Buyers are not overpaying for homes right now. But that being said, if you do price it reasonably and you have an attractive home and you stage it well and you have good marketing behind it and good systems behind it to drive activity, you're going to be able to sell. You're going to be able to sell. And then when you need to get into your next home, you're going to have a seller that's going to be willing to work with you on the other end. Now, I do have to include the disclaimer. That doesn't necessarily mean that every seller of every home is going to be this way. But generally speaking, our market as a whole, I would say that that's, I have a lot of confidence in that statement. That's what a balanced market can do. Now, if we start to see buyers flood the market again because the rates dropped or the prices went down, 0.5% or 1% or something like that, it's just going to mean that more buyers enter the market and that level of competition is going to go up significantly. So I would encourage you, if you're thinking about it, this is still a really good time to do so. We're not quite into our peak buying season yet. There's still a lot of opportunity. Our inventory is slowly, steadily climbing, as you see in my weekly market updates. So this is still a good market to take advantage of. But I feel incredibly confident in the Las Vegas housing market. I'm a homeowner myself in Henderson, and I really feel like our market is going to continue to grow and flourish. And the people that are complaining about how cheap homes were back in 2015, 2016, 2018, 2019, they're probably going to be saying the same thing about home prices now in 4 to 5 years, that, oh my gosh, what we should have bought back then. Yeah, the rates were high, but my gosh, the market has just continued to flourish. And now what we could get for 450, 500, now we're paying 550, 600. So if you're thinking about buying a home, this is still a really good market to do so, whether you're looking to buy or sell. So I hope you guys found some value out of this video. If you did, there are two ways that you can support this channel. The first is the easiest. There's a subscribe button on all my videos and also on my channel homepage. Think of it as like following me on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere else. So if you click that, you get notifications when I post new videos to my channel, and just keeps you in the loop on things. You can go through my playlist. You can go through all my videos. Just you get a little more familiar with the information that I present, some property walkthroughs, different things like that. I try to post at least a couple of videos a week to keep you informed and educated, not just about our inventory, but some of the news and data surrounding our market, so that you can be educated and informed about Las Vegas and Henderson real estate. And then the second way is I'm going to put a link in the description of this video so that you can set up a one-on-one meeting with me. Just gives me an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, learn more about your real estate situation and your goals, and we put a game plan in place to help you to achieve that. That's all. There's no obligation, there's no cost to do it or anything like that. Just like I said, gives me a chance to get to know you a little bit better and see what I can do to help. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you at the next one.